Hello guys, on this video we are still talking about portioning, yielding and converting units, but in this case as opposed as 4.1 we're going to start from the portioning part, and this is only because of how the problem is written. Okay, on the previous problems we had some AP quantity to work with, we purchased this, how much can we get out of here? Okay, so now on 4.2 we're going to start working on, we want to serve this much, how much do I have to go purchase? Okay, so the steps are going to be the same, but now we're going to start with, I'm going to call it step 3 just to be consistent with the previous video and the previous explanation, but we're going to start with portioning first, and then conversions, and then last we're going to do the yield percent. Okay, so some of the problems are not going to go all the way to the yield or to the conversions. We're going to end up in the portioning part, and this is important because it depends on how the portioning or how the recipe is written that you may or may not use the yield. Okay, so what am I saying? If recipe is by the count, then that means no yield calculations. What is by the count? 2 bananas, 3 garlic cloves, 2 heads of lettuce, 1 bunch spinach, etc. Okay, so those are examples of by the count. If the recipe is written by the count, the recipe or the portioning part from the recipe is by the count, then you don't have to go all the way to the yield calculations. You just have to do conversion to the appropriate units that you're purchasing and then go purchase that. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and approach the first problem. Okay, let me get rid of all of this and start with the portioning. My portioning formula is the same one as before. EP quantity divided by portion size equals number of portions. These are divided, or if you want to calculate an EP quantity, you can just take the portion size and multiply the number of portions, which in this case, that's what we're going to do in this problem. And it says you need 125 servings of diced avocado. How many avocados would you use if each serving is half an avocado? Okay, each serving is half an avocado is written by the count. Okay, this part over here is written by the count. That's the part from the recipe. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the EP quantity. If I need the number of portions to be 125 servings, and the serving size has to be half an avocado, I'm just going to call it 0.5 avocados. Or should we call those 0.5 each per serving or per portion? Okay, half an avocado. So what is going to be my EP quantity? That's 0.5 times 125. Remember that those two numbers in black, those you can multiply and you'll find the EP quantity. If you have the EP quantity and you divide it by 0.5, then you get the number of servings. If you have the EP quantity and then you divide it by the number of servings, then you'll get the serving size. So let's go ahead and do this in the calculator. That is 0.5 times 125. Result should be 62.5 each, or 62.5 avocados. And this will be enough to satisfy your recipe. The next step will be doing the conversion. Okay, but if it's asking for how many avocados you need, these are already avocados. So second step, we're not gonna do it. Okay, but in case, I'm just gonna write it here. Okay, conversion, we have 62.5 avocados, and we are converting to avocados. That's why we're not doing any conversions, because the problem is asking for how many avocados, and we're already working in avocados. We're not working on ounces or pounds or a different unit. Okay, and then we're not going to use the yield conversions, okay, because the recipe quantity or the serving size highlighted in green, it's written by the count. Half an avocado, 1 avocado, 2 avocados, that's by the count. Okay, so we don't need any yield calculations here. That means that the EP quantity, which is 62.5 avocados, that is the same thing as what you're going to purchase. This many avocados, 62.5. And if you're taking this to the real life, then you purchase 63 avocados. When you're purchasing, you round up. When you're portioning or serving, you round down. Okay? Because if you purchase 62 avocados, in this case, you're going to miss half an avocado for one of those servings. Okay? So make sure that this is rounded up into 63 avocados. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at the next problem. You need 175 portions of sugar snap peas. Each of those weighs 4 ounces. That's important. Okay, my serving size is 4 ounces, and it's written by the ounce. Okay, how many 10-pound cases of peas should you purchase? Okay, they come in cases of 10 pounds. And I'm getting this number from the Book of Yields, 93.8%. And that is the yield for fabricating sugar snap peas. Okay, getting rid of the unusable material, and then you weigh the before and the after, you'll get a 93.8% yield, which is important. Okay, first, let's go ahead and start with the portioning. Okay, my formula for the portioning, the EP quantity, which we're trying to find, and the number of portions, well, actually the portion size, 4 ounces per portion, and the number of portions is 175 portions. So you multiply those two numbers, 4 times 175, then you will get the EP quantity for your recipe. How much do you need? Total 700 ounces. Okay, first step, do the portioning, we're good. Second step, we're going to do the conversions. Okay, the EP quantity is 700 ounces, and we purchase in 10-pound cases. Actually, in cases that are 10 pounds each. Okay, so we have to convert those ounces to cases first. That's what I'm going to do right now on the conversion. Okay, we're converting 700 ounces into cases. Okay, starting at 700 ounces. Let's do dimensional analysis. And the numbers that I can use here is 10 pounds equals 1 case. That's what the problem says. I have 10-pound cases. And you can also use 16 ounces equals 1 pound. And I'm getting this from both the Book of Yields or the appendix 5 on the book. You get all of these numbers there. Okay, so to convert from ounces to cases, I have to first convert from ounces to pounds. Ounces on the bottom, which is 16 ounces per 1 pound. And then on the next step, I'm converting pounds to cases, which is, according to this problem, 10 pounds for 1 case. Ounces cancel, pounds cancel, result's going to be cases, which is what you want the purchasing unit. How many 10-pound cases do you have to purchase? So now I'm going to divide 700 by 16 and then divide it by 10. Remember that all the numbers in the top are times, all of the numbers in the bottom are divided by the first number that you have, the 700 ounces, the number that you're working with. So if it's a number on the top, multiply. If it's a number on the bottom, divide. Okay, and this should result into 4.375 cases. Okay. This will be my EP quantity on this problem. The last step, since this recipe was not written by the count, it was written by the weight. Portioning is 4 ounces. I do have to take in consideration the yield for working up this sugar snap peas. Okay, so the formula as a reminder, okay, AP, which is what we want to purchase, EP on the bottom, and then percent yield. Okay, 100%. My percent yield from the book of yield is 93.8%. AP is what we're trying to find in this case. We're going reverse compared to the previous problems. And the EP quantity, that is 4.375 cases. Okay. Now in order to find the AP, multiply the two numbers in the diagonal and then divide by the leftover number, 93.8, which is what I'm doing right now. 4.375 times 100 divided by 93.8. Final result, number of AP cases that you really have to purchase, 4.66 cases. Okay, you don't purchase 4.37 cases because you're going to be short. You purchase 4.66 cases. On this case, it wouldn't matter. You have to round up to 5 cases anyway. Okay, but sometimes rounding up might have you buy an extra case that you don't need. Okay, so this is the number that you have to round up, 4.6. Then you round it up to 5 cases, and that's what you purchase to have your 175 portions, 4 ounces each. Next problem says a popular side dish at your restaurant is stuffed yellow bell pepper. That's 1/3 of a pepper. That's your dish. 1/3 of a pepper. How many peppers do you have to purchase to serve 300 of those side dishes? Okay. It's a super simple problem. Okay, you begin with the portioning. We have a serving size of 1/3 of a pepper. That's the serving size. That's how much you're serving. Okay, so it is written by the count. 1/3 of a pepper is by the count. It's not ounces, it's not pounds, it's not pints or grams or kilograms, right? This is written by the count. It's 1/3 of a pepper. So I'm not gonna do any yield conversions here or yield calculations. Okay, let's go ahead and start trying to find the EP quantity. If my serving size is 1/3, I'm gonna call this 1/3 peppers per serving. 1/3, or you can convert this to 0.3 repeating, that's fine. And the number of servings that I want to do is 300 servings. According to this problem, you want to serve 300 people. So how many peppers do you have to purchase? Multiply those two numbers that you have there. 1/3 times 300, or 0.3 repeating times 300. The EP quantity is going to be 100 each, or 100 peppers that you have to purchase. Okay. Now, since we're talking about peppers, or everything is written in terms of peppers, right? The conversion to be done will be in reality from peppers to peppers. Okay, how many peppers are you going to purchase? And everything is written on peppers, so there's no conversions to be done. And Since there's no yield to be done or yield calculations to be done as well, because this is written by the count, highlighted in green is written by the count, that means that the 100 peppers will be the same as the 100 peppers that you're purchasing. This number is not changing. The previous problem, the number was changing, okay, because the serving size, I'm going back. Serving size was written by the weight for ounces. On the first problem, we did not do any yield calculation because the serving size is written by the count, half an avocado. This is 4 ounces, so we need the yield. And right now it's just 1/3 of a pepper. Like the first problem, we don't need any yield calculations. All you purchase is 100 peppers. And it makes sense. If the serving is 1/3 of a pepper, just purchase 100 peppers. Each of those peppers is going to give you 3 servings. So you have more than enough. Okay. For the next problem, says your version of Bananas Foster uses 6 ounces of peeled sliced bananas per serving. So my serving size is 6 ounces of peeled sliced bananas. How many pounds of bananas do you have to purchase to plate 76 servings for bananas? And I got the yield for slicing bananas to be 66.3% from the book of yields. Okay, let's go ahead and start the portioning. I'm not going to write my formula again. I'm just going to find the EP quantity from 6 ounce portions. And I want to plate 76 servings or portions. Okay. So my EP quantity will be 6 times 76, and this is going to be how much you need, how many ounces do you need of prepped bananas, which is 456 ounces of peeled and sliced bananas. Okay, so you peel and slice bananas until the balance says 456 ounces, just to have enough for this recipe. Okay, second is going to be conversions. And you're taking the 456 ounces and you're converting to the purchasing unit. On this case, it's asking how many pounds of bananas should you purchase. Okay, so it looks like I'm converting those ounces to pounds of bananas using dimensional analysis. Ounces on the bottom, pounds on the top, and I know there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. That's a weight-to-weight conversion. So since the 16 is in the bottom, you take 456 divided by 16. Result is 28.5 pounds. And this is in blue, so these are EP pounds. That's not how much you purchase. You might be short. Okay. The third thing to be done is going to be the yield calculations. And that is because the recipe is written by the weight, 6 ounces of peeled sliced bananas per serving, right? Either the recipe or the serving size. Okay, they both come from the recipe. So let's go ahead and do my yield calculations. This is always 100%. Over here on the bottom, I'm going to have 66.3%, which is the yield from the book of yields for slicing bananas. My EP quantity goes on the bottom, and my AP quantity goes on the top. How much am I going to purchase? That's what I'm trying to find here. Okay, so multiply the two numbers in the diagonal, and then divide by the leftover number. Okay, so 28.5 times 100 divided by 66.3. And how many pounds of bananas do I have to purchase? I have to purchase 42.90. Let's go ahead and call it 99 pounds. And this will be an example where if you don't account for the yield, you are indeed going to mess up your purchasing. Okay, because in reality you have to purchase 43 pounds of bananas, and here if you don't do the yield calculation, you will purchase 28 or 29 pounds of bananas. You're going to be short by a lot, and that is because the percent yield is quite low for those bananas. Okay. For the last one, each of 184 guests at Sunday brunch will be served 1/3 of a pound of peeled diced cantaloupe. Let me go ahead and highlight that in green. That is my serving size, 1/3 of a pound of peeled diced cantaloupe. That is by the pound, okay? And I have some data about cantaloupes. I said that one cantaloupe weighs 2 pounds. We might use those in the conversions. And cantaloupes come in 12 to a case. There's 12 cantaloupes in one case. And it's asking how many cases of cantaloupe should you purchase, okay? So let's go ahead and start with the portioning. And I have 58.1% yield for diced cantaloupe from the book of yields. So portioning, since all of these problems start with portioning, that's 4.2, okay? Chapter 4.2. My EP quantity, portion size, and number of portions. EP quantity first. Portion size, it says 1/3 of a pound. I'm gonna call it 1/3 of a pound. 1/3 of a pound per serving. Or per portion. Let's go ahead and call it portion. It's the same thing. And I want to serve 184 guests, or 184 portions. Okay. So my EP quantity will be multiplying those two numbers in the bottom. Okay, 1/3, which is 0.3 repeating, times 184. It seems like 61.3 repeating pounds. 61.3 repeating pounds, EP quantity. Conversions. I have to take my 61.3 repeating pounds and convert that into the purchasing unit. Problem is asking how many cases do I have to purchase? So I'm converting those pounds to cases. And let's go ahead and get all of the information that I can from the problem that leads from pounds to cases. Okay, the problem says, on the second sentence says the average cantaloupe weighs 2 pounds. So I know one cantaloupe equals 2 pounds. And I also know that one case contains 12 cantaloupes. Okay, that's the information that comes in the problem. Conversion ratios. And since we're in the pounds realm, we can go ahead and write this number. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. I don't think we're going to need it, but it's always good to have that around since we're going to use it in most conversions. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the conversion. 61.3 repeating pounds. Since I'm going to cases, this is my go-to. I have to convert to cantaloupes first, and that way I can convert from cantaloupes to cases. Okay, so pounds to cantaloupes. Excuse me, I meant this number over here. That's the bridge. That's pounds to cantaloupes, which is 2 pounds to 1 cantaloupe. And then we can use the cantaloupes to cases conversion, which is 12 cantaloupes per case, per 1 case. And if you cancel out the units, pounds cancel, cantaloupes cancel, and the result is cases. So let's go ahead and do the math. Use 61.3 repeating divided by 2 and divided by 12 since those numbers are in the bottom. Okay, 61.3 repeating divided by 2 divided by 12. So 61.3 repeating pounds in cases will be 2.5 repeating cases. Okay, these are EP cases. You don't purchase 2.5 or 3 cases because you might be short. You still have to use the yield conversion or account for the yield, all the ways that's generated by prepping cantaloupes. Okay, and this is AP over EP equals 100 divided by the yield. This is always 100%. The yield for working out cantaloupe is 58.1. 58.1%. Okay, my EP quantity is 2.5 repeating cases, and I'm trying to find the AP quantity. How many cases do I have to actually purchase? It's 2.5 repeating times 100 divided by 58.1. And result says 4.399 cases. So in reality, if you round up, that's going to be 4.4 cases or 5 cases, okay, which is way different than the 2.5 cases that you might accidentally purchase because you don't do the yield conversions. And then you're going to be super short on cantaloupes for this recipe, for this number of servings. Okay, so it's how much you purchase. Remember that when purchasing, you round up. Since cases, maybe they don't sell half a case, but if they sell half a case, then you purchase 4.5 cases. Okay, if they don't sell half a case, then you have to purchase 5 cases. And that depends on where you're purchasing this from. For the purpose of the work and the homeworks, this number will be sufficient, okay? Or this number if you want to round up to proper number of cases. We're going to assume that we purchase whole cases, that we don't get any half cases, okay? Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. I'll see you around, and let me know if you have any questions.